Gemara says on Chaf Gimel Amud Bais, it says Kisalek Rav Kana. And when Rav Kana went up, Ashkechinu L'bnei Rav Chia b'Yasvi v'Ka'amri. He found that the sons of Rav Chia were sitting and saying, now, discussion here of when exactly Rav Kahana went. Rav Kahana was a student of Rav. And when he went to Eretz Yisrael, did he go in the days of Rabbi Yochanan or did he go in the days of Rabbi Chia? And here he's there, and the students, the sons of Rabbi Chia, are there. He had to run away. He killed someone that informed the government, and he took the law into his own hands and he killed him. So he had to run away. And when he went to Rabbi Yochanan, he ended up insulting Rabbi Yochanan by laughing. He wasn't laughing. Rabbi Kana had a cleft palate, and when Rabbi Yochanan looked up at him, it looked like he was laughing from the form of his lips. So Rabbi Yochanan felt bad, and Rav Kana died. And then the following day he said, look, this Babylonian came here to laugh at us. He said, no, he wasn't laughing. Actually, that's the way his mouth is shaped. So he went to revive him, and he came back. And people were insulting him on the street. The Yerushalmi Bracha says that people were saying, well, how's the air up there? Like, what's going on in heaven? You know, because so every person that insulted him, there was the Gemara says two people, they told him that, and they died. So he said, what's going on over here? I came to Israel to kill people. There is the Kapeda of a tzaddik, you know. So he ended up going back to Bavel. So it's possible that he came up twice, that he came at different times, and it's possible there's different Rav Kanas. One of the books that I read says that there's 6 Rav Kanas. You know how they say that because he went down, it doesn't fit, it must be a different one. The Gemara doesn't tell us that there's 6 Rav Kanas. It's just they try to figure that out. Okay, it's all theory, speculation. So this is what the sons of Rav Chia were saying when Rav Kana comes to Eretz Yisrael. Isaron shechalku. The mincha is made up of an isaron, a tenth of an eighth. Let's say the isaron is split in half. So, v'hinicha b'bisa, and it's put inside one bowl. However, it's put in a bowl like 2 clumps, and they're not touching. V'naga tful yaim be'echad mihamahu, and a tful yaim is someone that's tamei. He's gone to the mikvah already, but he hasn't waited for nightfall. So there's a type of tumah that's on him, which can make kachim tamei, rather pasal. Can make kachim pasal. That means pasal. Difference between pasal and tamei means that it makes it tamei in a way that it can't make anything else tamei. Just like that, the end of the line tamei. That's the last. So he touches one. Does the other one also become pasal? So the Gemara asks, it explains the question. Ki tanan, when it's stated in the Mishnah that keli mitzaref mashem meseicha l'kodesh, that the vessel combines everything that's in it. Does that mean that, let's say you have a bunch of pieces of meat, and the Tvul Yom touches one of them, but because they're laying on top of one another and they're in one vessel, so they all become tummy. The keli combines them all to become pasal. Aval hecha, that's only hani mila hecha denagi bahadadi. That's only if they're touching each other. Aval hecha delay nagi bahadadi loy. But if they're not touching each other, they're not. Or maybe there's no difference.
It's all one keli.
It's all one keli, and the keli combines them. We're asking what is the the way that the keli combines them. Does it? In what type of? What is the scenario that this works? Amar lahu, ihu. So Rav Kahana responds to them. Mitanan keli mechaber, keli mitzaref tanan. So Rav Kahana mixes into this conversation, and he tells them back what his opinion is. That it doesn't say that the keli joins. No, that's not the good word. The keli connects them. It says the keli joins them. That means that even if they're not touching, connects would mean that if they're touching, it turns it into one. But joins means that even if they're not touching, it combines them into one. The different term in Hebrew, mechaber, means that it's actually touching, and the keli would mean that the keli is mechaber them, would mean that the keli turns them into one entity.
Just by virtue of it being
in the keli, but in the touching it becomes one. But if it says that what it does say is that it's mitzaref. Mitzaref just means that it connects, but not. It doesn't have to be touching. That's the connotation of mitzaref. Like the Alter Rabbi uses the term mitzaref. It means that that the thoughts that you had combined to the action. The thoughts combined to that. That there was an action, there were thoughts, and the thoughts get combined to them. Okay, koldu. That means any sort of being in the pod is going to combine them. Let's say you have two half isarin in a pot, and he puts in a third half of isarin. Now he has 1.5, right? 3 halves. He only needs 2. The third one is really not part of this, but he put it in anyway. So Amalei responds to them, Tzarech lekeli keli mitzarfei. Ain't tzarech lekeli and keli mitzarfei. Because that's not necessary for the mincha, so the keli doesn't combine that. That's not part of the mincha. Now he says, Let's say the Tfil Yom puts his finger in between all three. I think it means actually in between 2, because the third one we already said, okay, let's get rid of that one. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But if he puts his finger in between them, there's no such thing as something becoming tameh without touching, without contact, except for a klicheres, an earthenware vessel. Earthenware vessel, anything that enters the ear space of the earthenware vessel, the vessel makes it tameh. Anything that's in the ear space, while this impure thing is in there, becomes tameh.
Why only cheres? What is the concept of the cheres, the message?
I have to think.
Okay. That's good, Mr. Collins. I forgot to bring the kamun.
Where's the incense burner? No, yesterday we figured out that it's caraway. Caraway, the seeds. No, ketzach. We're talking about ketzach on the matzah.
Yeah.
We said it's kamon, so it's something that they put into the bread. We said they put it into into those
little seeds.
Yeah, into those crackers, Kimmel crackers.
Yeah.
So you're saying incense caraway seeds?
No. Yesterday we had a flavored matzah.
Okay.
We were discussing if the matzah becomes bottled to the flavoring, to the seasoning. Okay, so Hadar Iu Bali Minayu. Now Rav Kahana turns around and asks from them a question. This is very typical in the stories of Rav Kahana coming to Eretz Yisrael. In the story that I quoted to you before, which is the end of Baba Kama, where he has to run away, in the first parak of Brachas in the Yerushalmi. So over there, he has this conversation with Rabbi Yochanan where Rav tells him that he should stay there for 7 years. He shouldn't say anything. He shouldn't open his mouth. And Rabbi Yochanan is asking him questions, 7 questions, and he doesn't say anything. and he understands. I think he. And then he in return responds back with questions. It's a very similar type of thing where there's this exchange of he answers and then, or he's able to answer. And every time, I think after this certain amount of time, he says that must have been the 7 years that Rav was talking about, and I've accomplished it now, and now we can start to talk or something. Okay, so Hadar Iyo Boim Minayu, he now returns and he says from them, Rav Kana was famous in the Gemara because he went under Rav's bed when Rav was with his wife. And Rav says, Rav was talking to his wife or joking, so Rav Kahana makes a comment while he is under. So Rav says, Kahana, you get out of here. So he says, no, Torah hi v'lil madani tzarech. You know, it's Torah and I have to learn. Everything that the master does is Torah. He was a real student, a real, So now he asks of them, Mahu likritz mizal zeh. You're discussing about the combination between the two parts of that's in the pan, combining them. And you're discussing about tumah. I have a bigger question. Can I do kmitza on one for the other? On one half for the other, even though it's not touching? Tzirif da'iraisa derabanan. Is this whole combining thing, is this that it's biblically combined and it's one mincha here, or is it just a chumrah that the rabbis instituted when it comes to tumah? This is a real question. This is the big question.
Right.
What type of combining it? Amalai Zulei Shemana. This we didn't hear. However, Kiyetzu B'Shemana, but we did hear something similar. The Tanan Shtei Menachos Nikbitzu. Our Mishnah is now being quoted. 2 menachos. Kmitza was not done on them. V'nesar v'zu b'zu, and they got mixed up in a vessel. If you can do kmitza on each one individually, then it's still kosher. But if you can't because it's so mixed up, then if you're going to do kmitza, you're going to end up with part of the other mincha in your scoop, then it's not going to be valid. Now the Gemara goes back. Okay, you can do kmitza. If you're able to do kmitza, even though they're mixed up, it's kosher. Amai hachtema arav halay. Okay, the Gemara thinks right now that I have the mincha is divided like this. I have enough of it for a kmitza on this side in the pot. I have the mixture right here, and then I have enough for a kmitza of the other mincha over here. So yes, it's mixed up, but I am able to do a kmitza off this end here, and I'm able to do a kmitza of that end over there. So the question is that when you're doing a kmitza, this kmitza is not touching, or this section that you're doing the kmitza from is not touching the mixture. So I'm a Rava. Rava says, 1 second. Dilma begushin amachalaka nasin kamasra. I don't know how Rava comes there. Rav Kana's in Eretz Yisrael. Rava's two generations later. I don't know how this is working out, but it could be that Rava's the one that gets quoted later in Rava's name. Okay, maybe it's like the needles on a comb, which is like this. That just because I'm able to take a kmitza off this end, off this mincha, and I'm able to take a kmitza off that end, doesn't mean that they're not touching on the bottom. So they're touching. It's not that it's separated. We're discussing two portions of the mincha that are in one bowl, and they're not touching. So there's a Mishnah that says they combine for impurity. That means if they are touching, the Mishnah is really talking about if they are touching. If you touch one of them, the other one becomes impure because they're in the same bowl. So, question: the Bnei Rav Chia were asking. Let's say they're not touching. What would happen? So comes along Rav Kana and says, "What about if you do kmitza off one, off the other one?" So he says, "Well, the Mishnah really discusses that. The Mishnah says if two menachos get mixed up and you can do kmitza off one and off the other one, it's still kosher. Obviously, that they're not touching, and there's still a mixture going on." He said, "No, maybe they are touching. Maybe they're touching at the bottom, but they come out pointing individually at different ends, and you can do kmitza, entire kmitzas off the end." Okay.
Mm.
So my havi'ala. Now we don't have any proof. So how is this going to get resolved? Amarava Tashma. The Tanya, it was taught in the Bais of Ahirim Mimenu that you should remove from it. What does it mean? Mimenu min ha'mechuber. From what's connected. Shleyavi Yisarin b'shnei kelim. That means that you can't bring one Yisarin in two separate vessels. That means you have half an Yisarin in each. And Yisarin is a tenth of an ephah, which is the size of a mincha. The yikmaitz, and then do kmitza. Ha bikli echad. We're going to do something here. We said you can't bring it in two vessels. But let's say you do it in one vessel, dumya d'shnei kelim, but it's similar to two vessels. One vessel, but it's just not touching. What was the problem with two vessels? Kametz, that you're allowed to do. That sounds like a real proof. Amalei Abaya says, maybe that's not a good way of, maybe you can't really deduce that from this case, because you don't have the original case perfect. Dilma, Shnei Kelim, when does it say you can't use two vessels? Heichidami, how is that case? Kigan Kviza, the Kaaba. Dafagav the Arivi mi Eily, Kim the Mafsik Mechitzta, the Kviza mitata. It's saying that there's a type of vessel, a way of making a vessel where you have an outer vessel, and then you have an inner vessel inside that gets like from the material off the bottom, you squeeze out another vessel. So really there's really no attachment at all in the actual vessel. But when you come to the upper part when you come to the top of the vessel, as it like overflows, over there it's all connected. But just inside, there's two vessels underneath. There's the inner one.
Two vessels in one vessel?
Yeah. It's one vessel inside another vessel, so it's two vessels in. And it's combined on the top. Does it give a type of name for that?
Wall? Like a thermos has an inner wall and
Yeah,
outer wall?
but that would be an example. But we're talking about that the mincha is in the insulation, and it's in the inside,
and it's overflowing into the walls.
But where is it combined? Above the vessel, it's combined.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be not valid because the whole combination is not in the vessel. Hakli echadum yud beis kelim. But if it would be two vessels, if it would be one vessel similar to two vessels, what would that be? This is where the chickens get their food. That they have little, they put food in different like bowls type of things, but the bowls are all, the dividers between the bowls are lower than the outer edges of the vessel.
Right.
So over there, it mixes above the dividers and it's still contained in the vessel. So even though over there is a mechitza that's dividing them, but hanagia, it's touching. So that's what it means that you can't use two vessels, and that's what it means that you can use one vessel similar to two, because over there it's touching. But you don't have any answer if it's not touching at all. You said you're trying to bring a proof. It says if it's in two vessels, it's no good. One vessel, it is good. Maybe that's not the case, just that it's in one vessel and not touching. Maybe the case of one vessel it is good is when it's in one vessel, there's a wall in between, and it still is touching. Okay. Boy Rabbi Yirmiyah. Tziruf Keli v'chibur mayim mahu. It's an interesting case. Rabbi Yirmiyah makes things complicated sometimes. This question now is if you have two things in one vessel, and then you have a trickle of water that's going out of the vessel. There's a rule. It's called nitzuk. Nitzuk means a flow. There's a flow of water can combine two things for tumah. So here you have this liquid that's coming out of the vessel. So I have a vessel here. I have two pieces of the mincha in the vessel. If we're going to say that they do combine, I touch one of them, the other one becomes tamei. Right? Someone tamei touches one of them, the other one becomes tamei. Let's say that they combine. Do they combine enough that if I have a trickle of water coming from this out of the vessel, to touch another one here, that it can extend out of the vessel onto that to make that tummy. That's his question. Ki tanan keli mitzaref mashe b'soichi l'kodesh. Does it say, or when it says that the keli is mitzaref, what's inside, hanimidi the gavoy, that's only for inside. You're extending it out of the vessel. Av the broi loy. Broi means outside. Gavoy means inside. Those are antonyms. Bar is outside and gav is inside. I don't know what it has to do with the bar mitzvah, but bar means outside. And okay, so maybe it only combines inside but not outside. Oy dilma, or maybe kivan de mechaber, or maybe it's connecting. It's connecting. Doesn't matter. Vim tim telaymar, and if you're going to say, some of the poskim say that whenever the Gemara uses the term im tim telaymar, it means that it's accepting that side, because we just gave an option. This is like a flow chart, Could it be this? Is this the way you do it? Is it that? If you say it's this way, then it takes you to a next step. So some of the poskim say that, the Gemara took that option. That means that it is actually accepting that step. If you look here, the note that tells you what the halacha is following this. There's a little vav or something, or a little letter there. That sends you to the Rambam. So, or if you're going to say kivan the mechaber, that once it combines. Chiber mayim v'tziruf keli v'nagat fulim b'chutz mahu. Let's do it exactly the opposite. All right, there's water outside the vessel. Someone tamei touches the substance outside the vessel that's connected to the water. The water tracks it back into the vessel to touch one of them. Will that connect to the other one because they're both in the vessel? When do we say that the keli combines hanimili the naga megavai? That's when it touched it from the outside. Aval mibroi, but if it touches it, that's to touch it from the inside. I'm sorry. Aval mibroi, but if it touches it from the outside, loy maybe there's no difference. The fact is, the tumah traveled in. Take it. We have to leave this question.
So he stumped him.
Yeah. Boy Rava. Rava has a question. Isaran shachalku v'nitva echad b'yam v'inichu b'bisa v'chazit v'lyam v'naga Bais tamima. The Gemara makes it, assumes, and not that it's going to change, but the Gemara has this understanding that when we say that a vessel combines the two, that's only if he actually touched it while they're in the vessel. They need to be both in the vessel at that time. But if I take something tamei and I put it in a vessel and there's something else in there, because I didn't make it tamei at that point, so it doesn't combine just automatically the fact that it's tamei and it's in a vessel with something else. It needs to become tamei in the vessel for it, the other thing to become tamei as well. That's what the assumption here. So the Gemara asks, Rava asks, I have two halves of an isarin. One is pure, and it's put into the vessel. The other one is tamei, and it's put into the vessel. The pure one doesn't become tamei, because it didn't become tamei in the vessel that it combined. And then someone, tamei, comes along and touches the tamei one. Do we say that it becomes tamei again to make the other one tamei? Or do we say that it's already full of tumah and it cannot receive tumah again? Follow the question. Shall I repeat it? I have two things that are tamei. I'm sorry. I have two pieces of a mincha, and I put one in the vessel. It's pure.
Yeah.
I put the other one in the vessel. That one was tamei. Right now, at this point, the tamei one does not make the pure one tamei, because it was tamei from outside the vessel. It wasn't combined in the vessel when it became tamei. Now a tamei person comes and touches the tamei one. Do we say that he's making it tamei again, and now the other one will become tamei because he made it tamei in the vessel? Or do we say that it's already satisfied, it's full of tumah, and it cannot receive tumah again? It was already tamei. So the tamei person touching it did nothing.
Yeah, I like that one.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So niyam rinan, do we say savalei tumah? Do we say that it's satisfied of tumah? Satiated, yeah. Saturated is the word. Saturated. Eily, or not? Has it reached its saturation of tumah? So, and it can't receive anymore. Amalei Abaya. Abaya responds to Rava. Do we say that there's such a thing as saturated of tumah? Vatanan, listen to this Mishnah. Sudden tummy medrus. There's something called tumas medrus. Medrus is if a zav or a zava, they sit on a mat or a chair or a bed, anything that you sit on. So that is a strong level, strong tumah. If they touch it, it also becomes tummy. But if they sit on it, that's a stronger tumah. So if I have a sudden is a blanket or something that you can sit on, a mat. And then they took it in va'asu vilain, and they turned it into a curtain. Curtain you don't sit on. It's interesting discussions in sukkah. Those mats, the schach mats. If it was made as a mat, it's makabel tama. It's made as a mat to sit on. The schach rolls. However, a curtain, or if it's made for shade, then it's not tama. So, tar min medrus. When it's turned into a curtain, it's not medrus anymore. It's not you don't sit on it. Aval tamei maga medrus, but it's still tamei from being touched. So I had two types of tumah there. I had the sitting on it and I had the touching. You see, the touching worked. So Amar Rabbi Yosi says about this, Be'ez medrus nagazeh. Let me see this. Be'ez medrus. How did this become tamei maga medrus by being touched? What Rabbi Yosi means is that do we say that the medrus, that the zav touched one end? Yeah, maga medrus means it touched something that became tummy from a medrus. It touched something. So do I say that every particle inside this curtain was touched the other one, and so it's all touched? So that's not considered touching, because that's considered maga space starim. It needs to be touching in a visible way from the outside. This is touching from the inside the material. It's touching. That's not considered touching. That's magas space starim. Rather, what are we talking about? Elashim naga bayazav tamei.
What it's trying to say is different tumah.
Right, two levels of tumah here.
Yes, that reason is to make a difference. If you have one tumah, his tumah is not, you cannot mosif on that. But if you have different level of tumah,
right,
then you can mix.
L'shim naga bayazav tamei magazav. It must be that the zav touched it, and it's tamei from magazav. So ki naga bayazav mi tamei afilu lebesay. And now his proof is like this: it was tamei already maga medrus. It was tamei tumas medrus before because he sat on it, and now he's able to go ahead and touch it. When he touches it afterwards, you see that it's not saturated from tumah, and it can still receive the second level, a lower level of tumah afterwards. The Gemara asks, skipping the parentheses, Amai leimale savatuma. Let's say that it's saturated from tumah and it shouldn't be able to receive more. So Amalei responds back, Amimai, how do you know that that's the case? That you say that that it was touched it afterwards, and it became, and we don't say that it's saturated from tumah. Mimai, how do you know the haishim nagabayazav lebasar medrus? How do you know that he touched it after he sat on it? Dilma mekame medrus tavi tumah chamor al tumah kala. Maybe he touched it before he sat on it, and we know that if there's a lighter tumah, you definitely can increase the tumah. The question is, if you have the highest level tumah, can you add a lower level tumah? Or in our case, you have two lower levels of tumah that are equal. But in our case, you'd have two levels of lower tumah. Loi. We don't say that it's going to be able to absorb another tumah. Elami sefer. Rather, it must be from the end of the Mishnah that we can have a proof for this. Rabbi Yosi agrees. If you have two sheets or blankets that are folded and they're put one on top of another, the zav sits on top of both of them. The top one is tami medrus, the bottom one is also tami medrus. That's how it works. Even 10 You sit on all of them. However, the bottom one is also umaga medras. Also has maga medras. It touched the top one, which is tummy medras. Over here, we should say, why does it become Thomas Maga Medras? That it touched what was tummy Medras. It's already Medras. He sat on it. More than touching. It must mean that we don't say that there's saturation for Tumah. The Gemara says, no. Hasam Vasachas. Over there, it all happened at the same time. When he sat on the top, the bottom one touched the upper one. But over here, it's one after another. Who says that you can do one after another? Maybe there was saturation there. Let's see if we can reach to the bottom. Amar Rava. Isaran shecholku, an isaran that's divided, vavad echad mihem, and you lost half of it, so now you only have half an isaran, and the mincha is a full isaran, so v'hifra shacher tachtav, so you separated a new half an isaran to replace the part that was half. V'nim tzarishan, and now you found the first one, so now you have 1.5. Harishloshtem Menachem bebisin, you have all 3 that are in the bowl. Nitma avud, the one that was originally lost, but you found it, becomes tamei. So, and they're in the same bowl. So we said that if it's in the same bowl, it makes the other one tamei.
If it's touching.
If it's touching, well, we know if it's touching for sure. The question was if it wasn't touching. Let's say, to keep it simple, that it's touching. So avud v'rishon mitzdarfin, the one that was lost and the one that was never lost, the original one, combine for the tumah, because that would be the mincha. We said it doesn't combine for the thing that's not necessary. But the mufresh, the one that was separated to replace the lost one, is not necessary here. So ein mitzdaref, doesn't combine. Nitma mufresh. Let's say the opposite. Let's say the one that was replacing the lost one becomes tamei. So mufresh v'rishon mitzdarfen. This new piece will combine with the original one to make a mincha, and the one that was lost will not be part of the mincha here, even though it was found, but that didn't become tamei. And what's the combiner here? How are they going to combine? So the lost one can combine with the original one. The separated one, the new separated one, can combine with the original. Avad ein mitzdaref, but now the lost one is not going to join to the tumah. Nitmarishan. What happens if you touch the first one that was never lost? They'll both combine, because that could have combined with either of them, so they'll both become tummy. Abaya says, even if anyone but touches, it's all combined. They all are one family. They come from the same house.